It's been a long week of building in Valheim, but I finally have my plain space about half done, so I figured I would show you all what I've come up with so far. The plains are by far my favorite biome, and I'm so glad I decided to move here because the whole vibe is just different. Even the mosquitoes and the raids haven't been that bad. I must have found that one little slice that has some peace here. This spot was set up naturally really well to have an island fortress put on it, so if you are curious what seed I used, I will put that in a pinned comment down below. I decided to go for a more fantasy theme for this build instead of something that you might have actually seen back at the time of Vikings. I wanted to put my own little twist on things, and it is a fantasy game, so why not get a little whimsical with it? The dock will end up being a two-sided dock so that I can take my smaller ships in through the little hole that I made, and I can leave the longer long ships on the other side because I can't imagine a long ship getting through that space. The three buildings that I do currently have on this little island compound are a house and a cooking place for myself, as well as a fully built crafting circle and also an entrance via land through a rock, which I'm pretty proud of. The first building on our tour is my crafting hub. So basically I have each of these items in their own little section within a raised platform of stone foundations. So I've got the kiln, I've got both of the furnaces, I've got a little station for all of my boxes, which is weather protected by a roof, and then of course I've got the forge and workbench with all of its additions. The next building we're going to take a look at is my entrance, as well as my guard tower on my little island. I guess it functions as two things. So originally I carved the center out of stone and then I put a tower on top of it, and it reminds me of something you might see in Lord of the Rings. It's a little choppy on the inside, but when you get up top, it is a pretty nice view around everything, and I can keep track of what's going on or what mosquitoes are around, Deathsquitos I should say, that I need to shoot with an arrow before they come and poke me. And speaking of raids, I haven't really had a hard time with anything coming to take me down. The mosquitoes seem to stay on the edge of everything. The locks don't bother me. I've only had two little fewlings run up and try to get through my gatehouse, but as you can see, I took a foundation out of the center so they can't jump over that. So they always get hung up here, and it's really easy to just snipe them down. And that was the idea behind this little rock tower. Next up, we are going to take a look at my home and cooking station. So it is lopsided, but I tried to balance it out on both sides so it looks kind of natural. But anyway, we have our hearth, as well as some different items to get my comfort levels up. So I have banners, I have a Surtling trophy, I have things on the table, and of course I have the fancier bed, as well as some windows, which I got inspiration for from a patron over on my Valheim patron server. He figured out all kinds of really cool ways to do windows, so thank you very much, Drag, for inspiring me to put windows like this in my roundhouse. So this is about as good as I could get a roundhouse. The ceiling tiles need some work, but it is really tricky to do rounded ceilings. My favorite part though is this Dragon X structure. So that is my fanciest house I think I've ever made for myself in this game. And that is everything that I have up until this point. As I said, it took me almost a week to do all of this stuff simply because I went back, changed things, tore things down, rebuilt. I'm trying to get a layout where you do have to run quite a bit within a base, which may not be very easy to defend, but as I said, I've not had a hard time at all keeping all of my structures safe since I moved to the plains. A quick note about that, being surrounded by locks means that you have kind of allies when you do get the raids from skeletons and surtlings. They will actually attack them and unintentionally help you defend your stuff. So I have locks spawns on all three sides of my base, on the left, right, and behind, way behind those cliffs. So that really does help and it comes in handy. There are still some things, obviously, that I need to add to my base, which includes the windmills, an area to farm, and I also want to try and trap each kind of animal and have a location where they can kind of hang out here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get all of them to fit on the island. I mean, have you seen the size of Locks? So I might have to build like kennels, a stable, and a barn over the river and kind of make it a little bit of a run from the base so that I don't hear the howling of the wolves all the time, because I've heard that that can get really, really old really, really quickly. I have noticed that if you terraform a lot of land, your computer has to save the state of the old land as well as what you have changed. So I've noticed that things do get a little bit choppy the more you terraform, and your PC takes on a little bit more of a load. So just keep that in mind when you're trying to work on a build. From this point out, I'm going to try and keep this as natural as I can so that I don't have to load in for 5 minutes every time I venture into my base. We actually are kind of having that problem on my public Valheim server right now, where a bunch of terraforming was done and now FPS drops to like 4 every time you get anywhere near the base. So hopefully that's something that can be fixed and optimized as the game moves forward through its development. And lastly, I just wanted to say a big thank you to everybody who has been following me for this Valheim playthrough. I know I'm getting near the end of what we have available for content right now, but there are still a few things that I have to do. I have to explore windmills a little bit more, I have to explore the plains a little bit more so that I can get my final set of gear. I'm also going to try exploring the Mistlands so I can see if I can at least just find the altar for the next boss and maybe try him, although I've heard that may not be the best idea right now and maybe I should wait a little bit, but we could just poke him for the sake of poking him and see what happens. So expect that I am going to finish out the rest of the content, and then I'll probably take a break from Valheim or maybe do some actual build videos where I show you step by step how I do everything. As I said, this one took me near a week to get done, maybe playing an hour or two a day. So that would have been one heck of a long video if I did that. But what I could do is break it down into like smaller segments that you guys could use in your builds yourselves, and I can show you how I did them and how quick and easy most of it actually is to put together. That's one thing I really do have to compliment about Valheim, is that they really give you so much freedom when you're building. There's very little you can't do as long as you have your structure correct. So I'm excited to do more builds, although for now I think I'm just about built out, and I'm excited to get back into my exploration, farming, crafting, and all of that. I also wanted to say a quick thank you to everybody who commented in the comments section that flax was the resource that I am missing. So I'm definitely going to go out looking for flax as well as explore the plains a little bit more. There was a mention that I should try using the wishbone in the plains, so I'm definitely going to do that, and we'll see what we find when we do so. Thank you all so much for watching this Valheim video. I did want to mention I do have a Patreon up and running. The lowest tier there is $2, and you get all of the benefits for $2, which include a special tag on Discord, as well as access to all of my extra content that I post over there, which includes real-life horse farm stuff, as well as extra gaming videos. So that's it for me, guys. I hope you all are enjoying your games, and I will see you all in the next video.